Yes, welcome to Los Angeles, everybody. Coming to you today from Studio 309. There's so many podcasts out there you can listen to. Thank you for checking out mine. Who's my guest today? It's actor and former improviser Lance Barber.
Hey, hi, Mike.
Hey, Lance. Thanks for coming down. I'm pumped to talk to you.
Nice to be here, man. Thank you.
You've been on so many shows that I enjoy watching, like Always Sunny, Californication. You're currently on Young Sheldon, which is amazing.
Do you enjoy watching that as well?
I watched the pilot on a plane.
Oh, my.
Here, let me be honest with you. I watched the pilot. I love Big Bang Theory. I do enjoy Big Bang Theory. And I actually went to a taping of it a few months ago, which was fascinating. But no, I really enjoyed Young Sheldon, and I thought you were great in it. And it was so funny because I was like, I know him from stuff. And then I hit you up, and that's why I hit you up.
Oh, right on. Great.
I don't usually watch network TV, so it's hard for me to get that. And CBS, sidebar, tell the guys at CBS they got to get on the Hulus and the Netflixes and stuff. It's so hard to get a CBS show. It seems
I'll make that call. I'll tell them Mike told me to tell you this, and I'm sure they'll take it to heart.
Who's running in now? Is it Les? No, Les is out?
Les is
Call
out.
the new guy.
There's
or
a new
girl.
guy. He's from Showtime. If I knew his name, I'd tell you.
Because there isn't Hulu's ABC, NBC, and Fox.
You know more than I do, Mike. I don't know. I show up to work every day.
Just call Chuck. Call Chuck Lorre up and say, hey.
Hey, Chuck.
Let's get more
we have
streaming
a relationship
options.
like that. I just call him up and ask him, I check in and see how his day was most days.
What a good gig. He probably doesn't answer ever.
It's an incredible gig. I'll tell you that.
Let me ask you something. I usually start this off with a rant, but let me get right into that. Because was that a big moment for you when I know you've been a working actor, you've been an improviser. Was that a big moment for you when you got a series regular on a Chuck Lorre show?
It was a big moment. It was a big moment for all the obvious reasons. You know? I've been working out here for 18, 19 years. I've been lucky since I've been out here. A lot of lean times, but I've been lucky since right when I came out, I started at least auditioning and then booking things and here and there. And I've got to do things that I'm proud of and gotten respect from my peers and all of these things. And I've never had a job that had security, financial security. Yeah. And so to get gross, it is a business, but it was a big deal for me to have a job like this, especially this time in my life.
I bet. And when you get a pilot for Chuck Lorre, do you just assume it's going to get picked up? Or were you guys even nervous during that process?
This show has so many advantages because it's in the Chuck Lorre world.
Yeah, and it's connected.
It's the first season show that has advantages galore over every other first season show that's out there. It's connected to one of the biggest comedies in television history. So that's going to give it legs. People are going to give it a chance more than they would other shows just because of that. It's Chuck Lorre. They're going to do what he wants because he's a proven success maker, And so just to be involved in that, to get a piece of that, and to get a piece of like the network television paradigm that is kind of a dinosaur and drifting away, to get a hunk of that like old school TV money and those old school TV contracts is absolute triumph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times did you audition for it?
Auditioned once.
Just once. Wow.
I think maybe I read for it, and then I tested with Chuck and Steve, and tested with. There's a history there too because I had worked in The Big Bang Theory once.
Oh, okay.
I played a part in one episode of The Big Bang Theory years before.
Yeah.
So Chuck had seen me.
Oh, that's great.
And then I auditioned for a show called Mike and Molly.
Oh, as the lead.
As the lead, and it was between Billy Gardell and I. And Billy deservedly got it. Him and I had been in the trenches for a long time. We were the same type, big guys, blue collar types, and we were in the room together all the time. We had tested against each other in a number of things.
Sure.
For years. And that one, Mike and Molly, he got deservedly so. But all of those things, me being in front of Chuck, I think all led to this job.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what did you celebrate the moment you got it? Did you do anything wild or?
Yeah, no. I told my wife I wouldn't be home for about 4 days.
Went to Vegas.
Vegas, baby. Vegas.
Strippers and blow.
I didn't have any money, but I knew it was coming. Yeah. So.
No,
I've learned. I've been doing it long enough, man. I don't celebrate until it happens.
Until it's out there.
So the word was exciting, but until I'm working, I don't revel in it.
Do you know Matt Jones? He was Badger on Breaking Bad. He was a character on Mom.
Okay.
And I interviewed him at I.O. Live a few years ago, and he said he felt like he made it when he got a series, a recurring on a Chuck Lorre show, Mom. And so it's funny that people, once they get associated with Chuck Lorre, they feel comfortable or warm for
I think
something.
it's worth designating what that means. I felt like I made it years ago.
Oh, interesting.
I felt like I made it in regards to living dreams.
Yeah.
You know, setting goals for myself and reaching them. I had made it a long time ago before I got this. There were new goals being set.
Yeah.
Because I was a family person. And so, so
you just made the whole audience sigh. Oh, that's so sweet.
Drink it down, America. Sweetness.
Making it is with my family, not with my career.
But I had had successes, things that I was, like I said, so proud of, and worked with people that were dreams come true, and had jobs that got me respect from my peers, which is something I sought. And I was a working actor.
Absolutely, yeah.
I had come out here in 2000, and I hadn't waited tables or done construction or anything like that. Maybe a little construction the first year I was here with a buddy, but to make ends meet. But my goal was to be a working actor, and I'd done that, and I did that for years. Like I said, even though there was a lot of lean time, but it was just me.
Yeah.
And I loved that artist lifestyle. I was fine struggling. I loved the romantic notion of struggling as an artist as opposed to doing something I hated.
Sure.
To make ends meet. Well, and those priorities change when you get older and when you have a family.
That's fair.
And so the family thing, that's what another coup with this show for me is that the timing of it was so great. I'm a family man, and I've been lucky enough to make insurance to maintain my SAG insurance.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a goal, and I was able to do that. But now I'm.
And now your schedule is probably much more 9 to 5-ish, so you can be home at night for your kids.
And it's a show with kids, man. I mean, I can't talk enough about how great this show is in this specific time in my life, personally. I do. I'm home for dinner most nights.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which is unheard of in television, single camera. I missed bedtime twice, I think, in the whole 2 seasons that we've done.
That's amazing.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's super cool. Maybe making it is I feel like the term making it has a connotation to it that feels kind of gross. So maybe the term is comfortable. Once you got Chuck Lorre, you feel
but that's the term that people, I think, is generally assumed of making it is monetary success and
recognition.
A level of recognition.
Yeah.
My family would be like, people back home, hey, kid, keep up. We're proud of you.
Yeah.
You're gonna get there one day. I'm like, what the fuck? I've gotten there a few times.
Isn't that funny?
Don't worry about it. You keep pushing.
Yeah.
You keep working, buddy. Persevere, and you're gonna get. I've made it.
If they don't see you, they assume you're not doing anything, which is so
That's
funny.
right.
And yet you're auditioning every week. You're getting callbacks.
But I had reached my own personal goal, so this is gravy, and it is, man. It's a money job.
That's sweet.
And I'm making money like I never have, and have some security for my family for a little while.
By the way, I meant to ask you before we started recording. Can I borrow $20 when you get a moment?
Talk to me after we're off mic.
Hey, that was a great little intro. Well said. I think you're a well-spoken dude. So normally I start this off with a rant, though. Do you watch sports?
I don't.
Oh, no sports.
Zero.
Okay, I've been watching some NBA playoffs, and this is a new pet peeve of mine. You know when a ball goes out of bounds, the ref decides who it was last off of, who touched it last?
Sure.
Every damn player now points to their direction. Like, it's going to influence them. And it bugs me to no end that both sides, there's 5 players pointing the opposite way. Like, that's going to influence the ref. The ref has seen it so much now.
You do whatever you can, don't you? I mean, it's
just noise now at this point. If I was a ref and I saw everyone pointing, I'd point the other way just in spite.
Just to spite them.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It's so stupid. It's like, this is what I'm here for. Let me do it. Don't fucking side coach me.
Oh, well, don't get me started on the childish nonsense in sports.
That's my rant. Quick and sweet.
I like it. I wish I could join you. I definitely am the fat kid. I was the very poor athlete. I had zero interest and zero ability, and nobody to turn me onto it when I was young.
Sure, that's fair.
And so I just didn't, and I went the other direction of hating it.
Yeah.
Now I'm different. I appreciate it. My kids are into sports. My wife's an athlete, and I get it. I appreciate it now, more than I used to. But I've never cared that much.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
It is. It's just tribalism.
Yeah, it totally is.
It's just
like any
low-level patriotism. It's just
like any TV
my
show.
group's better than yours.
Yeah.
Let's get emotional about it.
It's just any TV show too.
And it's
People
all
are
nonsense,
like Team Handmaid's Tale or Team Game of Thrones or whatever. Yeah,
that's it. That's how we're built.
The studio beer is this Pilot Pilsner from Real Brewery.
Let's have a little.
You're having a little
sip here.
tasty taste with me. Let me know what you think. This isn't available everywhere. Okay, they gave me this.
This is exclusive.
This is a pilot. Yeah, they only made a couple.
You have your.
They give me a free beer. Isn't that nuts? That's why I started a podcast.
Can I please drink, Mike?
Well, I was trying to fill the air while you drank, and then you just.
Oh, that's beer. That's delicious. What is it?
It's Real Breweries. It's this. I forget what the name of it is. It's a pilot pilsner that they just worked.
It is
on
a pilsner.
Yeah, yeah.
I love a pilsner.
I do too.
I love a light and crispy something with a burger.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Totally.
I don't need a meal.
I don't need an IPA. I don't need a ham sandwich in a can.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't.
What do you normally drink if you're drinking?
If I drink, I like a light beer, like a pilsner. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't drink much. I see you have some whiskey and things over there. If I do have a cocktail, it's usually that.
Yeah.
Something brown. Yeah.
I've been cutting back lately.
Well, there's a good reason for that. You've made a fool of yourself too many times.
No, it's interesting. I've talked about this book a couple times now on the last few episodes, but I started reading this book called This Naked Mind. And basically it takes away this idea that there's alcoholics and there's people that consume drinks. It's like everybody can become an alcoholic because alcohol is addictive. And there's no like determination between that. You don't have to hit rock bottom to realize you're addicted to it. And it's subconsciously in your head that you're going to have a good time with it and all this. So I've been much more hyper aware of it.
I like that idea. Spectrum.
Yeah.
Spectrum is a very popular word, but very one of the most important words, I think, regarding a lot of things about human beings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really applicable for so many ways, yeah.
I like to ask about rituals up top. So when you audition or perform, do you have any rituals or routines? A lot of people are put off by the word ritual. It scares them. But do you have any like routines or anything when you audition or go out for things or are on set?
I don't. I came from theater, so it's just rehearsal. I want to know it as well as I can. And I've had times where I was lazy, where I felt like I can glance at the page.
Yeah.
But then I feel like I'm not making choices.
Right.
I'm not owning it fully so that I can actually act. I'm still thinking about the words.
Yeah.
And so my ritual is just I go out. I have an office. It's under the garage, so I don't bother anybody.
Oh.
I go out there. It's a very lucky room to have because it's disconnected from the house. So I can go out late at night and make as much noise as I want when the kids are sleeping, and I can run that stuff. And I use like this app that's great, the Rehearsal Pro or something like this.
Oh, where it reads the lines back.
It reads lines back, and it works. I need to be able to hear it.
Of course.
The cue, and it really works well for that. And
wait, I like that you refer to it as your office. I want to think of actors as having an office, but I like that you call it that. That's where your place of business.
Sick a man's room, but it is a man cave.
Oh, I was thinking more like a studio.
My kids call it the man room. It's basically where I keep all of the things that my wife won't let me have in the house. It looks like my high school bedroom. It's filthy, and but office sounds more professional.
Do you have like a self-tape setup in there and everything?
I do. I don't have a great white wall in there, so I've set up a sheet before. But yeah, I do self-tapes out there as well.
That's neat.
And I do some voiceover. I have the setup for that, not as elaborate as this, but I just use a.
Do you go out there all the time and just work on stuff, or is it just for auditions and
just
stuff?
for auditions and things, or for the show? That's where I go run lines for tomorrow's work.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you have any?
I do other things out there, but we won't discuss.
Speaking of cutting back, I've been cutting back on that myself too.
I was talking about playing my guitar.
Speaking of addiction,
what you're talking about.
Do you have anything like when you get into a room that you do all the time, or try to take the room? I'm fascinated by this idea of winning over the room, and it's
right,
and how people go about doing it.
So funny because you do so many self tapes now. You can do a self tape, and there's which is better, and they both have their pros and cons. In regards to the room, I think it's imperative that you win the room.
Yeah.
And so I think that being a friendly person.
Yep.
goes a long way.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to. You have to be exceptionally talented to be an asshole and keep working out. I think. There's plenty of people who are good enough for the job and are a pleasure to work with.
Right.
And so I think it's important to let them know that you are a professional in your demeanor as well as a friendly person. Therefore, I am smiles and eye contact, and I try to be myself. I'm not putting it on. Maybe I tune it up a little bit to let them know that I'm a delight to be around.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do bits either. I don't want to get too crazy and get because I feel like that feels like nerves.
Yeah.
I just want to get in and do my thing and be pleasant.
I've been having a lot of casting directors in this lately because, why not if I can get in front of a casting director?
Absolutely.
And it seems like what you just said is what they appreciate. Show up, be professional, be friendly. But then to me, it's like, how do you stand out if you're just doing the status quo? So do you have a move, if you will, to stand out, or just be yourself?
What I don't want to show is desperation.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You know, man. I want to show that I'm comfortable doing this, and that I'll be comfortable doing it if they put me on the set.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, how do you stand out? You stand out by rocking your scene.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody's going to rock their scene one way or the other. But I think that after that, it's beyond you.
Yeah.
It's numbers game. I mean, everybody knows that. So all you can do is show up and do your best. Don't read the page. Hold the page. I hold the page just in case. I don't want to go up and ask for time.
Yeah.
I'll glance if I have to. For me, that works. Everybody's got a different thing, but for me, I would rather take a pause and glance and continue on. But I try to be off, and I try to just nail it, you know?
Yeah.
And then after that, it's beyond me. I can walk out of there. Of course, everybody does their best audition on the way back to the car and the drive home. You think of the things you wish you would have done, and that does happen. It's a cliche, but it's true.
Yeah.
And I do that as well, especially when I really fuck up, you know? But I'm comfortable with the fact that it's beyond me.
Yeah.
All I can do is go in and do what I do. And there are so many factors I can't even fathom that they're looking at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why let it haunt me?
Yeah. It seems like you're at peace with auditions. Very comfortable with them.
I think that was I did like everybody does. I pretended to be until I was. You know, I faked it till it was real.
Yeah.
And so I'd go in and play like I was really cool and comfortable with this thing, even if I was shitting myself.
Did you put that little twang on your voice when you did it?
Yeah, I did.
I go in and talk comfortable.
Tippa-tippa-tippa-tee. That charms them.
That's super. What do you do do you do anything when you're just sitting on your trailer on set? Do you have any like?
It's none of your business.
Play your guitar. I forgot.
That's right.
Well, I like to ask about hobbies. Do you have any hobbies? So I just am fascinated by people that are always on set for something. If they
It's funny. I brought my guitar to set. I brought I brought a bunch of books and magazines that I don't read. I barely play my guitar. My buddy gave me an Xbox with a bunch of games. I'm not a game guy, but I've never done that. My son came to visit, and he played. I've done that a time or two. It seems that I don't do anything.
You just nap and
I nap when I can. Yeah.
I'm a big napper too.
I do, and I do read. I do read when I can, but I'm usually looking at something for the day. You know, I don't turn my TV on in my room very rarely. I don't have that much downtime where I can like get into something.
Well, let me ask. Think back to before Young Sheldon. Did you have anything in like the lean times? Because I like to ask actors when they're not things aren't going right for them, what they do to not get stressed out and to unwind and to take their mind off it for a little bit. Did you have any hobbies back then or anything?
I mean, I'm into music, so I would play my guitar and I would pick with friends for fun, just to blow off steam. I would. I go out with buddies and go bowling.
Oh, bowling!
Yeah. It's more of a new thing.
You seem like a good bowler.
I'm a Midwest guy. It's in our blood.
You hitting 200 every time?
I'm from Michigan. I got a couple guys from Wisconsin, and yeah, we're thinking about starting a league.
Oh, really?
A little Great Lakes League. See if we can.
Let me know. I'm from Minnesota. I'll happily join.
Yeah. I'm
a consistent 150-ish.
Yeah. None of us are hitting 2.
Okay.
None of us are hitting 2.
We need some ringers, then.
We need some ringers. But we all grew up going to bowling alleys, so that's been fun. But it's funny because you're asking me, it would be before kids.
Yeah. So now
that's going to
your
dictate
hobby.
everything.
Yeah.
That's my hobby. That's my life. So before that, it was really just broing it up. I got lucky to have some good buddies, and I would just spend time with them. We'd do whatever. We used to play disc golf.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Out here? What was your course?
There's a course over in a terrible course on the hills over in
Echo Park. Yeah, that one's awful.
That thing's a nightmare.
If you fucking miss, that shit rolls. That shit rolls.
Not even gonna go get it. You gotta climb a hill. It's nonsense.
It like goes in people's backyards, like
right.
down
And there's a lot
meters.
of spent condoms and things like that you have to avoid up in that course. But
we can appreciate that they're using condoms when they're fucking on a hillside in Echo Park.
I'm proud of them. And there's a couple courses. There was one like out on.
There's one in Pasadena too.
There's one on the west side. Yes, and there's one that we just always heard about but never went. But went recently to the one in Pasadena.
Oh, really? I haven't been up
nice
there.
Course.
I'll have to go. I like disc golf.
I like disc golf. It's fat stoner nerd game.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you play all the beer league stuff.
Yeah.
Are you on a softball team too?
No, I'm not. See, again, these are all easy things. I'm still not an athlete. I'm not good enough athlete to play softball.
Softball's pretty easy. If you sneak out into right field, you catch a ball once every 4 innings.
I would be a fielder. Yeah, definitely. I'd probably sit down for a while. Yeah.
Twiddle your thumbs, play your guitar. Where are you from, Lance?
I grew up in Michigan.
Nice. What part?
Yeah, northern Midwest. Like you said, the 1,000. Yeah, you're going to do the hand thing.
Right?
I got a scar right here.
That's where it is?
Battle Creek, Michigan.
That's creepy.
Yeah, I put it there just for that hand thing. I'm from the scar.
It's like a gang thing. You scar where you're from.
That's right.
Battle Creek. Why do I know that? Is that popular for something?
Yep.
Is there a school there?
You didn't do your research.
What am I going to research? I'd like to find it out.
The Battle Creek, Michigan, people know it because it's the cereal capital of the world.
Cereal?
Cereal City, USA.
Like the podcast?
That's right. It is.
Kellogg's.
Kellogg's and Post and Ralston Purina was there. And
Purina is not
Purina. General Foods, I think, was there.
General Mills, you mean?
General Mills, thank you. And it was a factory town.
Do you come from a cereal baron family?
Yes. I wish.
Was your dad the Smacks
we were
frog?
blue collar. We worked for the cereal baron family. Both of my grandparents retired off the line at Kellogg's.
Oh wow!
They were. It's a factory town, blue collar factory town, no doubt. And it's like so many factory towns. Most of the business has moved out from the Kellogg's, and they've in the Post, and they've gone elsewhere. There's still production there.
That's fan.
And there's other factories, foreign factories, that have moved into a different area, but it's still like a blue collar working town.
Do you love cereal or do you hate cereal then?
I love cereal.
Yeah.
And we had cereal, but we didn't see, my grandparents worked for Kellogg's, so all we got was Kellogg's. And Kellogg's has some phenomenal cereals.
General Mills is better though.
Listen, General Mills had Golden Grams. Oh. And I can't get
Lucky
enough.
Charms.
Oh my God. Oh. And then who had the Fruity Pebbles?
That's Post, I'm
Post
pretty
had
sure.
so I couldn't eat those because we were traitors if we did, right? So now, if I want,
you don't want no Special K or anything.
Yeah, I don't want all that nonsense. But it was a cool place to grow up. It was very America.
You know what's weird? I had a buddy in high school whose dad or grandpa invented a couple of those cereals.
Is that right?
It was like Count Chocolate and Bugles. The Bugle is.
Everybody put them on their fingers.
He had like the patent or whatever for Bugles in his house. It was so random.
And he's a gabillionaire.
Probably. Yeah. Wait, so were you performing as a kid? Were you an outgoing kid? You mentioned that you didn't play sports or do anything like that.
No,
so
I think there's outgoing kids, and then there's the introverts who become actors. I mean, there's all these paths, right?
Yeah.
And I was the more introverted, shy, who came out of my shell in high school and found theater. Always wanted to do it. Was too shy to do it. And by the time I got in high school, I got involved, and then from there, I never stopped.
What was the transition point? What got you in? How did you get started?
I'd always wanted to do it, and I was Amy Rosa, the English teacher in the theater
Amy.
program. Oh, Amy, and she said, audition for this. You should audition, and I did, and it was.
That's all it took was one person telling you to do it.
Rebel without a cause. Well, it was smoldering for so many years,
Right.
And I had, I was garnering some confidence. Just getting into high school and finding a social group and being a little less shy just with age. And had the courage to give it a try. And then never stopped after that,
Did the first play go well?
It went well. I had a small part in Rebel Without a Cause. I was one of the tough guys.
Nice.
And Moose, I think, was his name. And then from there, I went on to be one of the stars of the stage at Penfield High School.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
And then
is it a big high school?
It was a small high school.
Oh, okay.
It was still a star.
Yeah. Hey, you can't take that from you.
You can't take that away from me.
Was your family supportive of that?
Very much so.
That's great.
Yeah, very much so. And I was no one else had done that in the family.
Yeah.
And they were very supportive of most things I did. My dad passed away when I was a year old.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
And my mom raised me, and my grandparents raised me in Battle Creek. And so they were very supportive of any path that
That's
I
great.
took. And I think that was because of the circumstance.
Yeah.
And it was different than them, that's for sure. Maybe they didn't understand.
Right. But they were supportive.
But they were supportive.
That's all that matters.
And it was amazing. Yeah.
Did you have siblings as well?
None.
Okay.
I had a couple rounds of step siblings when my mom remarried a couple times, and I have a sibling now from one of the marriages from an adoption my mom had, my sister Kristen, but no natural because my dad died so
Gotcha.
early.
Yeah. So after high school, were you hyper focused on acting then? You bought into that, and that's what you wanted to do?
I went to Kellogg Community College.
I just saw that when I researched you 5 minutes ago.
Kellogg's of the cereal
Yeah.
had a community college. And I still lived at home and was able to go down the street to the community college and do their theater program.
Did you take Cornflakes 101?
I'm leaving, Mike.
I regretted that.
No, I'm leaving.
I regretted that.
Off come the cans and I'm walking.
I'm a hack.
No, it was good. It was good.
Wait, you studied acting there?
No, the fact is I did take Cornflakes 101.
Oh, okay.
Taught by Tony the Tiger. Yes.
That's funny.
He was a mentor.
I heard he's great.
He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal.
Great.
He is great.
Wait, sorry, I totally derailed that.
No, let's go.
Did you study it? According to my research, you performed in school productions there. I'm not reading that off of anything.
I had a great small town local training in theater. I did the
That's super
theater
awesome.
I did it at the community college. I got to do a bunch of stuff, and it was a small pond, and I got to do fun stuff in the theater there through the 2 or 3 years I went to community college and got my associate's degree in the theater arts.
Oh, good for you.
Thank you.
Did you get out of your shy shell by this point then?
Well,
were you much more?
By high school, I was obnoxious.
Oh.
I had blossomed and then took it too far, like most of us do. Found that comfort and freedom and ran with it.
Yeah.
And all of the obnoxiousness I was missing in my youth, I went double time on.
Sure. That's fair.
Yeah. And,
Well, if you're looking for something to inspire you and you suddenly find it, it makes sense. I mean, why wouldn't you be over the moon about it?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was, like I said, it was like so many of us, it was a childhood dream.
Yeah.
And I finally started doing it.
And then you got your associate's degree. You went right to Chicago, right? Because you wanted to try.
I did. There was
improv?
stuff, but there was stuff in town as well. I grew up going. I got bit by the theater bug. Honestly, going to a summer stock theater. It was in a small burg next to us in Augusta, Michigan. And in 1980, I went and saw Grease live on stage, and I'm like, ooh, this is not. I already liked the movie with John Travolta, but then I saw a stage production. And then I would go every year to this summer stock theater. It's a historic venue. It had been around forever. There were real actors that came. Tom Wopat of the Dukes of Hazzard was an alumnus there, and he would come back every summer and do a show there when I was young. And so I eventually worked at that theater during my college years. I did summer stock theater, the apprenticeship program for
good
equity.
for you.
And
summer stock is big in Michigan, right? I feel like I've had a few people from there.
in
That's
the middle of the country.
Okay.
It's a good opportunity for people to do. It literally is the barn theater. It was an old barn converted into a
that's
beautiful
super
theater.
cool.
And it's got an incredible history, and they're still running. They're still going. And some of my closest friends are still working there as their resident actors. And that was a great experience because I grew up watching that, wanting to do it, and then did it when I was like 18, 19 years old, college age. And then a guy in town had do you remember the Murder Mystery Theater? That was like improv audience participation. Mm-hmm. And you would go to dinner theaters or college campuses or all kinds of places. And
I think they still do one in Long Beach.
Sure, and we would do them like on trains or a riverboat. And somebody dies and people keep dying, and the audience that you're having dinner who's having dinner and trying to figure out, ask everybody who done it.
Yeah.
And so I did that during the college years and in between in the summer with Top Hat Productions. A guy named Dennis McKean had this company that did that. We would go to colleges all over the United States.
Oh, wow.
And I would travel with like a couple close friends, and we would go do these shows at college campuses all over the country.
So you're making a little bit of a living in the
A little
summers.
bit, yeah.
Good for you.
And I'm doing summer stock in the summer, and then I made the move to Chicago.
Why Chicago? Had you had a taste of improv to that point, or it was just something you?
Murder Mystery was the only taste of improv that I had, and I enjoyed it because I was obnoxious, and I had that kind of energy, and it was fun to do. But I had no intention of pursuing it. I went to Chicago because I knew it was a cool theater town, Actually, it was a girlfriend and I were going to make a move and get out of Battle Creek.
Oh, okay.
She wanted to go to New York. I thought maybe I'll try L.A. And we compromised. How about Chicago? It's close to home. It's only 3 hours.
3 hour, yeah.
3 hours from home. And it's still a big city experience, and there's still opportunities for us to pursue the things we wanted to do. And we went looking for an apartment. I wanted to go to Chicago and do theater. There's a lot of great black box theater and small, wonderful theater for people to, cut their teeth on. They want to get into the scene. That's what I came from. I'd done musical theater and theater in college. And so I thought, this is great. I went and visited a friend, Holly Walker, who's an alumnus at Second City. She, alumni?
Alumni.
Thank you.
I don't know what the difference is. They both sound right.
They both sound right. One's plural, one's not.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Anyhow, she said, you got to go see this show. She was taking classes at Second City at the time. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We went and saw this show called Pinata Full of Bees. It was written by everyone on stage. Adam McKay was one of them.
Oh, sure.
Tina Fey was on stage at the time. I think Adam McKay had left, but Kevin Dorff, I think, or Bill Cott was in there. Scott Adsit was on stage. It blew me away.
Yeah.
I saw this show and I said, what is this?
Yeah.
Wow. And then I proceeded to do zero theater in Chicago for 5 years and dove headlong into sketch and improv.
You became the obnoxious sketch and improv kid.
Oh, my God. And where I found my people, that community.
Yeah.
There was plenty like me.
Yep.
And it was a wonderful community, still one of my favorite communities of people.
I feel like we have to have so many people in common from that because I worked at IO West out here for a number of years. So
Okay.
I just know so many of those Chicago people
In my
from
era,
your generation, too.
My era was late 90s. So I moved to Chicago in like 94, into 94, and I came out here in 2000. So my contemporaries were people like T.J. Jagodowski and Jack McBrayer, and I was watching those other people on stage. Tina Dratch and Faye had their show before they went to New York. The UCB people had left already when we got there. They had just left. But phenomenal, and still some of my closest friends, community of people.
Just a great zeitgeist probably at that time,
Absolutely,
too. Just a lot
too. And of course, I was at Improv Olympic in Second City. I had friends. I would go see stuff at the Annoyance, and everybody was involved with the Annoyance Theater with Mick Napier, and who's a friend, and I took a class with Del Close.
Oh, you did? Was he?
Excuse me.
What was he like at that time?
At that time,
He was on his way.
It was
out,
toward
right?
the end.
Yeah.
And my experience was different than others. I'm grateful and appreciate that I got to have him as a teacher, and I took a couple things away for sure. But at the time, it was most of my memory was him bumming cigarettes and grumbling.
Sure.
From the students.
Yeah.
And on our last day, we had to do a herald for him. And it was the last class. And at the end of the class, Del took a drag on his cigarette, hung his head, and said, "Thank you." And he walked out the door.
Oh, my.
It was brutal. It was fucking brutal. It was amazing. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's funny.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's
we
nuts.
hadn't lived up. But he was a great teacher, and my experience was, like I said, different than others. But
The lore of him is fascinating.
the lore of him is fascinating.
So to have a little piece of that with even that story. is
Saw some Polaroids that were found in his apartment, and we won't get into it. But
Oh, wow.
fascinating guy.
If you want to tell me, please tell me.
No, it's not my story to tell. But let's just say they were interesting.
Playing the guitar.
Yeah, he was. Someone was helping him play the guitar.
Did you take to improv right away then?
I didn't, I still don't. It's still not my thing. I loved it.
You just really.
I was scared.
Yeah.
I went back to being scared. I remember being on stage at I.O. with a great group of people. We were on a team called the Tobacco Lobby. And and I had so much fun, but I had fear. We would go and have rehearsals with. We'd pay Armando Diaz. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Oh, I've heard of Armando.
Of course. And the Armando Diaz he was our trainer, our teacher.
Man, you had some great teachers.
Yeah, and we would pay him to go do practice with us. And there were a couple of shows, and he would watch, and there were a couple of shows at I.O. that I never stepped on stage.
Wow, you were just frozen against the wall, back wall.
I never had the opportunity, and all of a sudden the show was over.
Oh, wow.
Twice that happened. I never stepped out. I never stepped out for a game. I didn't step out for a scene.
And he called you out on that shit, I hope.
And he's like, yeah. He's like, you got to trust everybody. Yeah. He's like, it's just fear. That's why you're not doing it.
Yeah.
And I said, you're absolutely right. I'm terrified. I want to go out there with something. And he said, you don't.
Yeah.
Go out there and be open for something.
Yeah.
Trust your guys, trust your team. And great lessons. But I never got over the fear completely. And now, if I'm invited to do a set or something, if I go see a buddy's show, it rattles me still because I'm rusty. At the time, I got over it, and I enjoyed doing improv. I never enjoyed games because I'm not quick. I was the actor, and I prefer words, and I prefer crafting that way. It's not my talent.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And I have so much respect and admiration for those that do because I can't do it. And so many of my friends are so good at it. They're just sharp. They're just fucking smart and quick with their smart.
Yeah.
I need to mullet for a while before I come up with that comedy.
What got you over that fear, do you think? Was it him telling you that, or did
it
you
helped.
Did you ever do like a 2-man show just to force you to get in it?
I was embarrassed that I didn't trust myself, and I was embarrassed that I didn't trust my teammates because I thought they were all so funny.
Yeah.
And that was insulting. And I didn't want to do that. So step out and trust that you're gonna figure something out.
Yeah.
Listen. Open your ears and listen. Trust your guys and run with it. Listen to what's happening. Play the game,
Yeah.
And so that did help. And then just doing it, But fear was always a big thing, man.
Yeah.
In that improv. I was never fully comfortable.
Have you ever watched it's Valancourt, Paul Valancourt, his one-man improv?
I've never seen him, but he's a talented fellow.
Oh man, when he does his one-man improv, you're just like, all right, okay.
That's how you do it.
That's how you get over the fear of
I did a scene with Paul Valancourt. I don't even remember what it was for. It was on the ETC stage at Second City in Chicago, and I stepped out, and it was Paul. And I remember the scene. It was it had to do with Jesus had a party.
Oh, of course. Yeah. That old
trope, and the roommate came home, and it was a mess. And he was bitching at Jesus about God, I don't know. We got a laugh, and off we went, and I was reeling.
That's awesome.
Because it was with somebody that was so fantastic.
Did you ever get on you got on the ETC then, or?
I didn't. Second City was, at the time, I was in the box office.
Nice.
Yeah.
Helping out.
And there was a bunch of great people.
The unsung hero of the improv space.
And all my buddies that were taking classes at the time, we all worked there,
Yeah.
And most of the people were taking classes and desired to be involved somehow. And so I worked in the box office and took all the classes plus. And we did shows at the Donnie Skybox Theater, a couple of those. And then I was on the short list. I would audition. And there's a famous short list at Second City.
Yeah.
And it keeps people dangling, and you are almost good enough.
Yeah.
But there's somebody better, so we're going to keep you on the short list. And if something opens up, and you come audition for the next round.
Did you do tour or anything, or do ships or anything?
I didn't. What happened was short list for 3 years.
Yep.
And then I had made a decision. I started working in Chicago doing I got an agent.
Oh, good for you.
I got into the union doing a few commercials.
Oh, wow.
And I started doing a stand-up, guitar act that I was doing in the comedy scene there, the stand-up scene. And so I started getting some recognition for that. And I think because of that, they went, oh, you're kind of hot right now. Do you want to... I think somebody was leaving, a Seamus or a Brian Boland. Somebody was leaving, and they had an opening in Redco, and finally my chance. But I had already decided to move to L.A. I had plans.
Wow!
It was 2000. I was my buddy had a room. Him and his wife got married. They had a room in L.A. and I'd been meaning to, and it was an opportunity to. So I took that opportunity. Then I was offered this Redco position.
That's funny.
And so I took 24 hours. I told Kelly Leonard, who was the producer at the time, thank you so much. I need to think about this because this is a big decision. I've wanted this for so long.
Yeah.
And then now, of course, it comes now.
As it does.
And I went back the next day and said thank you, but no thank you.
Good for you.
Which was hard. It was a hard decision to make. There was a little good feeling of fuck you. I've been here for 3 years.
Yeah.
But
Well, not even fuck you. Just thanks, but no thanks. I'm not going to. Yeah, I've been on your schedule for 3 years. I'm going to choose my schedule.
Right. And so there was a little small triumph in that, but it was a hard decision.
I bet.
And ultimately, a decision I'm glad that I made.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What was the stand-up guitar thing? How did that come about?
I was one of my best friends, Charlie King. He's the one doing theater still back at that summer stock, and phenomenal musician. He's been in bands and actor, and we always played music together. We were always fans of comedy and comedy music. Frank Zappa and Spike Jones and Dr. Demento. This was some of our youth and stuff that turned us on. And so we got into that, and we had friends who did it professionally. A friend of ours named Stephen Lynch, another Michigan guy who made a career out of doing comedy songs. A great career out of it, and phenomenally talented. We enjoyed that. Tenacious D was big at the time.
Sure.
And we were turned on by them as well. And so we started doing our own act that was kind of like a country Tenacious D.
Oh, cool.
A two-man, and it was filth. It was all blue material.
Sure.
Hyper filthy.
Yeah.
Stuff that I've even taken off the internet because it's so inappropriate. And definitely in today's climate, it's even more inappropriate. And I have kids. I don't need them hearing that, at least until they're adults. And it was purposefully over the top raunch.
Yeah.
I think it was smart, and the music was good, and we were proud to do it. But it was something of a time when we were younger, and in a different time.
Did you both play guitar in it?
We both played. I played guitar, and he plays a bunch of instruments.
Okay.
And
you were doing like an hour show, or how long was it?
Yeah, we would do when we got out here. He came out here, and we were doing.
Out here, you mean L.A.?
Out here to L.A., we had an opportunity to play the improv on Melrose.
Oh, cool.
And another friend of ours who was Brian Trainham, who was he had a joke band, and a guy named, there's another guitar comic named Mike, and he was from Chicago as well, and then a few other Chicago comics. And we had a show. We had a late night show at the Improv, standing late night Saturday night show.
That's awesome.
And so for the first year or two, we were doing that.
Oh, that's so cool.
And that opened doors for me as well, because I'm playing Filthy Raunch, and I would play those songs up, and that would get people to come see me and get me into auditions. And things. Again, it was popular at the time. It was in following the steps of Tenacious D and things that were very popular at the time.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
How'd you get your agent in Chicago?
So Chicago agent was just through the commercial thing, I think, and through casting directors out there that hooked me up with
that's great.
An agent who I don't think exists, Big Mouth Talent. Brooke at Big Mouth Talent, I don't know if she's in the business anymore. But it was through the casting directors, and anything that came to Chicago I was going out for.
And what was the thing that got you in the union? What commercial was it?
I think I did a paint commercial.
Just paint?
Yeah, house paint.
Big paint?
Big paint. I did my first big commercial. I went to Pittsburgh, and I was in a giant red foam Y.
Okay.
The letter Y for the Y chromosome. And it was for a place called Ladbrokes. Ladbrokes tracks, horse track.
Oh.
Horse racing track. And I was the Y chromosome getting all the bros out to the track. Right? Come out and have some. And I had on like my fake shitty East Coast accent. Hey, come to Ladbrokes. We're going to drink some beers and bet on the ponies. You know, that guy.
Yeah.
And they flew me to Pittsburgh, and it was 2 days in the studio with this nonsense on my body, and it was humiliating, but I was having so much fun.
That's amazing.
So, I was working, man. It was one of my first jobs, and I got paid to be on TV.
Did you have an odd job in Chicago, or were you surviving off those commercials?
I was a waiter. I was a waiter in Chicago. Like throughout a few different places. I waited tables and bartended.
Good for you.
Classic.
Standard. Great gig for actors.
Yeah, man.
Wait, so when you get to L.A., Brooke from Big Mouth doesn't come with you. So how do you get started? Obviously, that improv show gets you in front of some people.
Chicago Comedy Festival.
Okay.
And I'm doing the filth songs by myself. I don't know my partner was doing it because he was with a band at the time. And I'm doing the filth songs.
Did you have a name for your act?
We were the King and The Barber. His name is Charlie King. I'm Lance Barber. We were
King
just
and the
King
Barber.
and the Barber, but it
Like
sounded
it.
like a kind of an old folk tale or something. And our stuff was very folky country.
Okay.
Rock and roll too, but it was, Americana.
Yeah.
And so with the King and the Barber. But I did the comedy festival, and there was a guy there scouting. He was a Chicago guy, but he'd been out in L.A. for a few years. He was a manager. And he was with a place called Power Entertainment, and he said, hey, man, funny act, you come out and I'll represent you.
Oh.
I said, I'm coming out this fall. So that hurdle of like getting to LA and trying to find reps, I didn't have.
Yeah.
I jumped it before I showed up, and I was in rooms immediately. You know, it was pretty amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So was he sending you out right away then when you got here?
As soon as I got here, he had stuff for me.
That's
And
fantastic.
the first year, I was testing for pilots.
What?
Yeah. I'm very talented, Mark. I don't know if you realize this, but
Yeah, but
no, there's something about me.
well, when you have Cornflakes 101 in your special skills section.
Okay? Juggling, Cornflakes 101.
But wait, obviously we all think we're talented. Mm-hmm. And until you prove it, there's no way for casting directors to know that. So how are you testing for pilots so quick? Was he that good? Did you have that good of a resume?
He just got me in rooms. I was a new face, I think. I was a big guy. I was heavy, and there was a lot of stuff at that time. Jack Black. It was Jack Black time. So there was
also
and there's always been, but
King of Queens guy, right?
Exactly. So there was funny fat guy.
Yeah.
There was sidekick fat guy, and there was a lot of that in pilots. And so I read for all those things.
Yeah. Have you always been this big?
I've been up and down, but I've always been a big guy.
Okay.
I'm a big guy, and I've almost always, except, here and there, when I was young, I've always been overweight to some degree.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But that behooved me out here because
Yeah.
I fit into that category, and I maintained it just being a big guy, regardless of my weight. I'm a big guy, and so I'm pigeonholed into some stuff that's great. Like I said, the Billy Gardell, the blue-collar big guy.
Yeah.
Now I'm the big dad.
Yeah.
Which got me this job. I fit that
Perfectly.
description, ex-football player you'd buy it.
Yeah.
Based on my look.
On the pilots you were testing for, did you book any? Did you shoot any? Obviously, I don't think anything went.
There
right?
was some pilots I shot that didn't go. I've had that experience a couple of times, and I had guest spots throughout. My first job was I was living on Hollywood Way with those people that I moved out here to be with. My friend Kirk.
Hollywood Way?
On Hollywood Way, right across from the ranch, Warner Brothers Ranch in Burbank.
Do people know that's the name of the road?
Yeah, Hollywood Way.
People know that.
People know that.
Okay.
You don't know that, Mike? No. Everybody knows Hollywood Way.
I know the ranch. Okay.
Listen, one of the most famous avenues out here.
Really?
Yes. Hollywood Way.
Okay, I'm going to research that after you leave.
Got the name fucking Hollywood in it. I don't understand. Under a rock.
Are you confusing it with Hollywood Boulevard?
Oh, wait a minute. You're right. Hollywood Boulevard.
Anyways, you're living on Hollywood Way.
My first job was on ER.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, I got my legs broken
Oh, really?
Like,
by George Clooney?
by George Clooney.
We got to break these back into place.
In front of me pulling into the gates was George Clooney on his motorcycle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's too funny.
I'm like, that's cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
That's great. How long after you moved here did you book that?
It was within the first year, so
Good for you, man.
a few months, yeah.
That's amazing.
And I tested for something that year, a pilot that didn't happen, or I didn't get.
Yeah.
I lost it too. But I was lucky. I was really lucky. And
People always say that, but you can't.
no.
It's luck and preparation and timing. Yeah.
There's
you obviously are talented too.
There's a cocktail. Yeah, there's a number of things, but it is a matter of fortune and timing and things like that. And things I don't have control over. Some of those things have been lucky.
Well, let's talk about. I seem like I always ask about this, but you mentioned the lean times earlier. What's the longest lean time you had where you weren't booking anything? It didn't seem like anything was going right.
It was during those early years, and I was broke, and I was like stealing change from my, the first few years out here.
But even still, it looks like you're doing one a year. Which is a good start. I would
That's a
think.
good
I've been here
start, but
6 years and I have zero.
It was still, that's not a lot of money.
Of course not.
And so I was.
But it's what you said earlier. It's a romanticized starting artist. If you get one a year, I mean, that's a good start.
It was enough to keep me
actors.
going for ego stuff, for sure. But financially, it was miserable. And I was, getting a $1 burger at Carl's Jr. with change I found on the couch stories, And then I moved and I slept on couches for 3 months. I did that whole thing.
Oh, that's the lean times we're talking about.
Yeah, and I slept
Here we
in.
go.
My buddy took me in, and I would sleep on his floor most nights, but some nights he had somebody over or just needed the space, and I slept on his roof. I would sleep in...
What?
I would sleep in his car.
Don't
My manager loaned me his car because I didn't have a car, and I couldn't make
that's amazing.
auditions. One time he drove to pick me up to take me an audition because I was broke and had no money. I couldn't even take a bus.
What a great manager.
Oh,
you still with him?
Absolutely.
Good for you.
He's with Principato Young, which is Artists First now, and he's made a hell of a success.
Good for you.
For himself, and I'm lucky to be with him. And he didn't do anything for me anymore. But
Just sits back and gets that Chuck Lorre money.
Cashes those checks.
Wait, you glossed over sleeping on a roof. You got to talk on that.
He's earned his keep, though, because he busted his ass. We were both starting out together. We got a good relationship, and he busted his ass for me.
Yeah, that's
when
awesome.
we came out here.
I think that's what every actor
again,
wants.
lucky to have him.
Yeah.
I had no choice in that. He came to me, so it was lucky to get that.
Yeah, talk about the roof sleeping. Don't glaze over that.
It was very Jim Morrison. I romanticized it. I was young. I could handle it. It wasn't freezing. We're in California.
So was it one of the things
And I slept in the car too, and I knew at the time I had foresight on the nostalgia of it. I knew that this would be someday the story I would tell on a podcast about when I was a poor actor sleeping in the car.
Wait, so is
it
that really how it goes though? Like he's like, you can't stay here
I wasn't
tonight.
Starving. It wasn't a desperate situation.
Right.
But I was broke.
Right, but so does he say you can't stay here tonight? And you're like, I got a great idea. I'll stay in the roof because that's a funny story.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. No, it was a warm night and I could stay on the roof.
Funny. That's so funny. It's all part of your true Hollywood story.
That's right, and I thought it was cool.
That's funny. Yeah, I like it. It's cool.
It is cool.
So in those lean times, what makes you keep around? Obviously, you're romanticizing this aspect of it. So is it just that, or is it just the fact that you're getting one every year and it's the taste of it?
Right,
You want
and there's
more?
nothing else I could do. What am I going to do? Honestly, I mean, people say that, but it's true. I have no other skills. I had no interest in anything in regards to career. That's not the case with everybody. Some people find other things that interest them. I do now. I'm lucky to have success, but now I understand that my priorities have changed.
Right.
It's been my life, the forefront of my life for so long, the pursuit of this and the enjoyment of it. I still enjoy it as much, but it's less important now, and thankfully I'm successful with the show. But it's less important now because my priorities have changed. Some of it's being a family man, some of it's just age. I finally find other things interesting, and maybe as interesting as acting.
Yeah. Well, in these lean times, you said you never got an odd job out or a day job out here.
I didn't. I had a friend. That
Were you trying to?
He was a builder. He was a designer in construction, and I would do.
Oh
some
yeah,
work
you
for
briefly
him.
did that. Yeah.
So I did do that for him. He was nice enough to throw me bones and let me do some heavy lifting and light hammering for him, and I could make some money.
Yeah.
And maybe Mom would send $100 here and there.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean?
Oh, she's so sweet.
Grandma and Grandpa, like I said, they're very supportive of this family, and
that's so nice.
And supported that pursuit, and they supported it financially in that way. They helped me get through Second City as well, all the training there. So
you did 2 different characters on Gilmore Girls?
Yeah, man.
Oh man, my mom's gonna love this episode. How does that work?
All that means is that the first character I did was so forgettable.
That's what I was just gonna say. How does that work?
It was so incredibly forgettable.
Did they just love you and they were like, "We're gonna get you back"? Or
the Gilmore Girls casting director is a lovely woman named Mara Casey, and her and Jamie were the casting directors at the time, and they're delighted. I just did Mara's teaching now, and I just went and did for her class. She had an audition class.
Oh, cool.
And she asked me to come in and read with the kids.
Oh, super cool.
For college age kids, but they're young people, and that was fun. But they liked me. That was it, and it really was. It was so forgettable. I had like one line. I was a fix-it guy, like pretending to screw drive something.
Yeah.
Screw drive? Is that a...
Sure.
Okay.
Screw drove?
Screw drove. And I screw drove aboard and said a line and walked away. So it was forgettable enough that they had me back later, years later.
Did you have to audition years later?
I think I was offered that.
No big deal.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Was that your first offer?
I don't remember my first offer. Maybe it was. I remember an offer because I did a show called The Comeback on HBO.
Yep.
And that was watched by a lot of people in the business. That show was... that show begat all the work that followed for years, probably even still does.
Oh, really?
Because...
I would have thought it was Always Sunny for some reason.
It didn't get... Well... Always Sunny, those guys offered me the part because they were fans of me on The Comeback.
Oh, look at that.
So that was the first actually big offer that I remember, was to play that part, which grew into...
Yeah, it did. 10 episodes or something, right?
Yeah. And what fantastic guys, and what a cool thing to do with them.
Yeah. Have you taken any acting classes out here or anything, or is it just your improv background that you've been
Just
rocking?
my improv background and all my time in the theater. And I studied, I had the classic 101s in Kellogg Community College.
Yeah.
Where I had some great teachers there as well. And I've never, no, I haven't. My school has been auditioning, auditioning in the jobs. And the things that I wanted to learn were specific to the business.
Yeah.
They were specific because I had what I do for my auditions. I have what I do for my acting. Of course, there's always room to grow and hone. But I feel like I was doing that. What I wanted to learn was technical stuff, and I wanted to learn how I hadn't done a whole lot of on camera before. So I wanted to learn all the classics, how to hit your mark and where to look, and all of the various things that go along with, and how do you keep fresh when you're doing take after take or just a line and they're on, all of the technical stuff in regards to television acting, I wanted to learn and have. And before that, it was for how to audition well.
Yeah.
And so that's been my training. I am lazy and have a big ego, so that's why I haven't taken any classes.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, I think I'm just fine.
I think that's a lot of improv.
I think I'm just
people.
fine, and I'm too lazy.
I think that's a lot of improv people. Once you get in the habit of not rehearsing and just showing up and doing something, that just gets ingrained in you.
Well, you got to get in the place too. And you know what I find, and you probably find it too. When you're in certain company, it turns on. And certainly in the improv community.
Yeah.
I go back to obnoxious. My wife can't stand it if I'm around those people. She can't. She's not. Thankfully, she has zero interest or knowledge about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And barely tolerates me when I'm with my friends who are improvisers, because it's bits galore. It's bit city. And it's not to impress each other. Not at this point. Maybe at one time it was. It's just the way we operate. I did it before I was ever in improv. My closest friends and I, we had bits. We had things. This is how you connect and communicate, and you have those things between you. Now I found a whole community of people that did that.
Yeah.
I was doing that in high school with my best friend. I'm like, oh, we thought we were the funniest shit going, right? Yeah. Then I go to Chicago. I'm like, hey, here's all these other people doing the same thing I thought was so unique to me and my buddy. It's just a way of communicating and the way your brain pops.
Yeah, finding your tribe or whatever.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Did you audition for much commercials out here, or once you got the man? Really, that's so fascinating.
Not because I didn't want to. I auditioned for commercials, and I had a commercial. I just couldn't book.
Really?
I don't know why. I've never booked a commercial.
That's so weird to me.
It's so weird to me too.
I feel like we were the same demo, honestly, in commercials.
So, what's going on?
I don't know. I mean, I don't book a bunch of shit either, but I book a couple.
Do you?
Not this year. If I'm being honest, not this year, but we're coming around. Is there anything we missed on your journey before we ask the set questions I ask everybody at the end?
What did we miss on my journey?
Or anything you think is relevant?
I mean, no. Nothing that's interesting.
It's all interesting. Don't shortchange yourself.
Nothing other than it's obnoxious and cliche. I've enjoyed and appreciate my journey.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, and luckily it's paid off. But I really did enjoy and appreciate all those lean times. I appreciated the journey.
Yeah,
and still do. Yeah.
Well, you can't appreciate the peaks without the valleys. You can't enjoy the fatty times without the lean times. You know what I'm saying?
I'm leaving. Again, I'm leaving. That was the last straw.
All right, first question. How do you describe what you do in 3 words. What do you do in 3 words? How do you define what you do in 3 words? You get 3 words, you explain what you do. Is the question clear?
One question. How many words?
3 words.
Working actor father.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Father working actor. How about that?
Nice. Priority.
Priority.
Oh, the audience goes at home. Yeah, he's so dreamy.
Shut up, everybody.
I mean, I feel like you don't have to elaborate on that, and you can if you want. How are you a father working actor?
No, those are my priorities, and I've been lucky in both. And the father part, tops the other for sure. Yeah.
Why have you continued to pursue show business?
Because I can't do anything else, and I still find it fascinating and enjoyable. And I really don't have any other skills. That's a comedy line that people say, but it's true. I really don't.
Sure.
I have other interests, though, but I don't have any other skills.
That's fair. Why Hollywood?
Because this is the best place to make a living.
Yeah.
I really think so. This is the best place for opportunity if you want to do film and television. Plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of LA?
My home. I live in Silver Lake, and I love. We lucked into a great house in a great neighborhood, and we're in the hills, and there's trees around me, and it feels quiet.
That's nice.
And that's my favorite part of LA.
You really got to like your place in LA. Have fun.
Absolutely, man.
I work from home, so I really like my apartment. I don't necessarily love my neighborhood or my building, but my apartment.
I love your apartment too.
I really like my apartment,
Yeah.
and I think that's really important to have.
Absolutely.
Because when you leave a shitty audition and then you have to go to a place you hate, it's like, oh, what am I doing?
Right. It's combative just getting through town. So to get home to a nice place is very important. Yeah.
Nice to unwind.
Yeah.
What content are you consuming? What TV or books, podcasts, movies? What are you taking in right now? Music?
I'm always into music, old and new. I try to get turned on via Apple. Has great opportunities to turn you on with their, like any of them. They pump out things. Here's what you might like, and I listen to that.
Yeah.
And I do find things, they're right. There's things I like.
Yeah. Down in your office.
Yeah, down in my office while
Listen
I'm
to
playing
music.
guitar. And then... Again, it's obnoxious and cliche to say I don't watch TV.
Yeah.
Don't watch much TV. We watch Young Sheldon with my kids, which is a treat.
Oh,
my
that's
kids,
super cool.
My kids have never been able to watch anything I've done.
That's probably true.
Yes.
They haven't seen...
Nor my family in the Midwest. I mean, they do, but it's not things that they wouldn't watch normally.
They
They're
haven't
doing
seen
it
you
to support
Screwdrove,
me.
though?
They did see the Screwdrove. And they
There's
applauded.
Dad. Oh, there goes Daddy.
There he goes. And they were so proud of me. They were so proud of me.
I was on Blackish as a background actor this
Yeah.
week, and my mom was so proud of me.
Yeah, well, great. That's what you want. That's success. Absolutely. I watch. My wife and I try to watch the PBS NewsHour and fall asleep. That's most of the time.
Oh,
we watch.
okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Do you listen to many podcasts?
I don't listen to many podcasts. I have some. I like some of the sciencey ones.
Sure.
Yeah.
Lucky for you, there's a hell of a back catalog of Box Angeles. 250 plus episodes, boxangeles.com.
Wow, what a plug. What a shameless plug that was. I've listened to a couple of those. They're all right.
Yeah, that's about right.
I enjoy them very much. I think you're good at what you do.
Oh, stop
I'm glad you do it.
I wasn't fishing for that, but I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Who would you work with if you could work with anybody?
I would work with anybody. I would.
Did you just repeat the question?
Can I tell you who I've worked with that was a big deal to me?
Yeah, please do.
Heroes, people that were a big deal. Where I got to work with Tim Conway.
Oh, nice.
I did a show with Tim Conway in the WB, and the show was whatever, but it was Tim Conway. I got to work with Chevy Chase. And,
Oh, really? Good for you.
Hero as a kid, and we did a movie that the guys from The Onion made, one of their first movies, and it was a phenomenal experience. And Christopher Guest, I got to be in one of his movies, and that was
wow, good for you.
an enormous dream come true. Yeah. To work with him and all the other guys I met on that set.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And I would love to work with any of the character guys that are out there that do. I mean, I like guys, character actors, the thing that I want to be.
Yeah.
The guy that you don't necessarily know their name, but you know all their work,
Yeah.
etc. Some of them become stars. I always like what Sam Rockwell does, and I think it would be neat to do something if I had an opportunity to do something in film that was something like what the Coen brothers do.
Oh,
it would
sure.
be fun because I hear it just such a process with them. It would be neat to see how that works.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's the favorite thing you've done in your career?
Favorite thing I've done in my career would probably be the comeback. I was just proud of the show, proud to be a part of it. It was a show that I really liked, would watch. It was right up my alley. I love that uncomfortable stuff. I loved the British Office when it came out. I feel like we fell in line with that show and did a good job of it. And again, it garnered me. People in Middle America didn't watch it much.
Right.
But my peers watched it and loved it because it was so inside Hollywood. And again, it garnered me so much work, and it garnered me some respect from my peers. To this day, just yesterday, I had somebody chewing my ear off about how it was the best show that was ever
awesome.
on TV. And I can't get enough of hearing that because I was really proud of being part of that.
Where
show.
were you at?
I was in Santa Monica. I was doing a photo shoot for a magazine.
excuse me.
I beg your pardon. And
They brought back Tiger Beat?
They did on the cover. Tiger Beaten, I think is the actual. Thank you.
What's the least favorite thing you've done in your career?
The least favorite thing I've done in my career? That's a hard question.
Because
I appreciate everything I've done, even the things that I'm not so proud of.
Now the audience is just getting tired of all these good answers.
Well, we all learn from the mistakes that we've made.
No, I always add
We've made some big mistakes, Mike.
I always add the postulate. Is it postulate? You don't have to say what it is, just why it wasn't great. Mm-hmm. So you don't feel like you have to out anybody. But if you want to out people.
Okay, I will. I worked in a reality type TV show where we fooled people. We made fools of them. It was an MTV show, and I really was uncomfortable the whole time doing it. I took the job at the time. I was young. And it
was at their expense rather than they weren't with you, joking with you?
Yes, it was ultimately at their expense. Yes,
it
was. They didn't know what was going on. We were making them the comedy. And yeah.
Was this Punk'd?
It wasn't, but it was in that era. It was a show called, it was like that. And then they did all kinds of shows like that. It was called Faking the Video.
Oh.
You know, I enjoyed the people I worked with. I worked with Stephanie Courtney on that show.
Oh, yeah, the great Stephanie Courtney.
And I love her, and I had so much fun with her, and even the producers and stuff. But it was at the time, just for me personally, doing that kind of thing at the expense and exploiting someone's ignorance about what's going on, I just find gross and uncomfortable and unnecessary. So that's that.
I just had Ross Lacey, the casting director, on, who discovered Stephanie for Flow.
Yeah.
So we got to hit him up for you so we can get you your commercials.
Yeah, will you please talk to them?
I mean, I'm taking work away from me, but I'm looking out for you. I want you to get a commercial.
Mike, you're a mensch.
I don't know why I'm helping you out.
I don't either. Let me just tell you something. I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Take back everything I said. We'll cut that part out. That's such a hack thing to say. We'll cut that part out. But anyways, how do you define success? That's the last question.
I think we talked about it before. I define success as achieving your own set goals. And like I said before, I'm lucky to do that and go beyond it. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, man.
You made it to the end.
I did?
Yeah. What do you got to promote? What's going on? When does Young Sheldon come back?
Check out Young Sheldon. It's coming back. I go back to work in July. It'll be a new season. We got picked up for 2 seasons.
2 more?
2 more, baby. Jeez. I mean, I'm officially picked up for 1 more. We got our
contract dispute coming.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I might have to go, hard knuckles on them. But I have no clout. I am not a hardball guy.
Yeah, but
you're happy to have it.
Joel's going to fight for you, I feel like. Joel Zadak.
Joel Zadak, I would expect him to. That's their job. I want to keep my nose clean, stay out of it.
It wasn't me, it was Joel.
No, let them do the ugly work. That's why they take their 10%.
That's fun.
And I can blame them. But
you should just sit in on the meetings and just be in the corner with your cell phone, just like glancing up angrily every now and then.
I can do that.
Yeah.
I can angry glance.
You got a Twitter, right? What's your Twitter?
Do I?
I think you do.
I do. I don't know what it is. I don't use it.
I think it's Lance B. Actor or something.
Yeah, probably Lance B. Actor.
Lance, you're wonderful. Thank you so much for doing the podcast. I wish you nothing but continued success.
That sounded genuine. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you for calling me out. Thank you for calling me out. You are wonderful. I do wish you all the best.
It was a pleasure to be here, man. I appreciate it.
You get to choose the end. Whatever we do to wrap this up, you can decide.
More beer?
Do you want more beer?
No. Got to pick up my kids from school, Mike.
This fucking fly that's been flying around here is pissing me off,
Mike, there's no fly.
MTV and the Channel E. A thing for celebrity.
Oh, that's beer.